Hello guys, in this video I'm hoping to highlight a couple of different design features that are present across these three different types of small arms. They're all similar in a lot of ways, and they all share various characteristics. And so the Vz58 usually gets compared to the AK a lot. The AKM is always compared to the Vz58, but never to the SKS, which I think is really weird because the Vz58 shares a lot more in common with the SKS than it does with the AK. So in the Vz58 and the SKS pattern rifles, both of them are receiver locking rifles, which is really cool because that means they lock into the receiver. So to demonstrate this, you can see here, it locks into the receiver, which is back here, rather than up here, which would be where a trunnion would be. Same thing for the SKS. When the SKS locks, it locks just like that. And the part that locks on the SKS is back here, and the part that locks on the Vz58 is right here. So this pushes down into the rifle receiver on this pattern, and this pushes down into the rifle receiver right here, and that's what locks it. I only have an SKS receiver to demonstrate this, but here you can see it locking into the receiver right there, and it's not moving. The only way to get it to really move is if you can unlock the tilting action on it. It tilts like this, and it pushes up or down, and it locks into a little recess right there. Here you can see the locking method for the AK, and it's much more similar to an M1 carbine pattern, where it locks, instead of locking in the back here or somewhere into the receiver, it locks into the trunnion, or very close to where the barrel ends. So that's just another note. And also both the Vz58 and the SKS are non-rotating, so you don't get any of that motion in that plane, right? Which is kind of cool for different types of energy, but just cool enough. Another similarity is the top cover, or dust cover, as sometimes it's called. On the AK, it's usually called a dust cover, but see here on the SKS, it's only that far. The dust cover or top cover doesn't fully enclose the bolt, which is not true on the AK. On the AK pattern, it totally encloses the bolt except for this little slit right here, which allows the bolt to peek out a little bit. But yeah, it's kind of free floating out on the ends here. I can demonstrate that. Here I tried to demonstrate what all three look like. And so you can see the SKS, the Vz58, and the AK. And so the Vz58 is more similar to the SKS in that way. Another similarity is that both of them have stripper clip guides, which is useful if you are trying to speed load an extra 10 rounds. But the Vz58 isn't just a direct SKS copy. They took innovations in design that, were around at the time, right? The SKS was designed in the 1945. The AK was designed in the 1947, right? And so there was modernizations and different design aspects. One of the things that was changed is that this is a milled top cover right here. This is stamped sheet metal. You can see by the strengthening grooves here, and this is stamped sheet metal as well. So the Czechs did not just directly copy the AK or the SKS. They took the best parts of the two, and I'll demonstrate this here. So one way that they did this is in the recoil springs, right? So the recoil springs from the Vz58 are more similar to the AK in a lot of ways. The braided recoil spring, that was taken from the AK. They saw that was a something to do if you wanted to have a consistent hammer pull, and a part that you didn't always want to replace. So that, and the method for containing the bolt carrier spring. So the bolt carrier spring, you can see, is kind of like two giant U-shaped rods that are hinged in the middle. and that's more similar to the AK. This is an AK spring right up top here, and this is an SKS spring. The SKS spring is actually telescoping, something like that, which was the original AK design, but fell out of favor, and it fell out of favor before the Vz58 came into real production. So that's just something interesting to look at. On both the Vz58 and the SKS, the front ends are really where you get the most similarities. The front sight posts on both of these are really pretty similar. The muzzle nut is not threaded on the SKS, but the way that these two are designed is very similar. So you can see here, you have a very straight front sight post with, just a chunk that's placed onto the barrel, right? That's similar to the SKS in a lot of ways, right? You can see here that it's pinned in two places, just like the Vz58, and they just look very similar. They share a lot of similarities. The AK, on the other hand, is very different. You still have that drum adjusting front sight post, but there's a vast difference in how they are designed and how they're manufactured. Another similarity, which I've never heard brought up, is the location of the front sling swivel. And so in both the SKS and the Vz58, this front sling swivel is present up at the gas block. So you can see there that it's present on both of the gas blocks. On the AK, on the other hand, it's present back here at the handguard retainer. So that's just something interesting. Now, taking a look at the gas system in particular on both of the both the SKS and the Vz58, both are short stroke. Both have pistons that move and push back your bolt carrier, which unlocks the bolt, which allows for the firearm to cycle. In the Vz58, it's very similar to the SKS in a lot of ways, but it's actually a simplified version of the design, which is really cool to see. Inside of the SKS, right inside of here, there's actually a spring and a little tiny plunger. So what happens in the SKS is it's actually a two-part system. There's a main piston right here, which I'll demonstrate in a second, and then there's a smaller piston right here. What the Czechs did is they simplified that smaller piston, which controlled the reciprocation of the front piston, and they put it into one part, which is really, really cool because it allows for you to have a, simplifying firearm parts is always great, because what it allows for the common soldier is that they will have to disassemble one less piece, right? That's one less piece for them to have to lose. And soldiers like doing one thing, and it's losing pieces. So, that's always a great. So here on the SKS, you can see the piston right here. Very similar to the Vz58, but on the inside here, on the SKS, there's a little tiny, you can see it there, it's a circular little guy, and he's a plunger, and you can actually press it in a little tiny bit. It's very hard to do because it's a very strong spring, but you can see right there, there's a little bit of play, and you can see on this end, when I push it in a little bit, it moves just a little bit, and you can move it further, but it's hard to do. It's very hard to do one-handed too, so that's always fun. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys have any other parts that you know that are similar on the Vz58, SKS, or AK pattern rifles, please let me know in the comments below. I'd love to, hear and read your responses and see what you guys know of that I do not. Yeah, thank you guys for watching. Please, if you guys like the video, like the video. If you'd like to subscribe, please subscribe, and have a great rest of your day.